They both led to touchdowns. That is a wild one. The winner of that ball game will take on Northern Iowa next Saturday.
What about it?
It's a big wild. What about Georgia Tech? Who's going to win in the end?
I think Georgia Bulldogs' character is if you could characterize a Vince Dooley team, as they say, that he bores you to death for 59 minutes and then beats you in the 60 seconds. And I look for Georgia to make a strong finish. I really do.
Well, fine. We'll be back with the second half right after this.
It's halftime with Georgia Tech leading Georgia by a score of 10-6. On the field, the Georgia Tech marching band, directed by Bucky Johnson. Tonight's participating institutions.
A pioneering spirit created a great institution 100 years ago. Today, Georgia Tech creates pioneers.
I wanted to be more than just an executive. I wanted to be a leader. And to provide myself the background to do that, I turned to Georgia Tech. As I look at things that I've been able to do since I left Georgia Tech, I don't take full credit. I give part of it to Tech.
The pioneers of tomorrow are at Georgia Tech today.
Well, this afternoon, Bob Neal, of course, is up in Knoxville, Tennessee, watching the Tennessee Volunteers beat Vanderbilt 30-0 and win the SEC championship.
Lindsey, everybody in Knoxville was throwing a big party when we left. As you know, it's been since '69 since they won the SEC. And I guess most folks know your hometown is Knoxville. And I said that go ahead on up to your house and go ahead and have the party up there. I knew you wouldn't mind.
I hope they're all having a good time. We want to talk a little bit about the Heisman Trophy, and of course we're going to talk to a man who has one. And we're going to do that after we look at some of the candidates and some of the things they've been doing, because really and truly a man who wins the Heisman does it in competition with all the other football players in the country. It really is against all odds.
Time it's 10-6, favor Georgia Tech. Bob Neal stopped by to see us. And Bob, I was just kind of kidding with Bob. I said, boy, the old films of me on film, I would have been a much better runner if they would have had that good music to lay in there with it.
We can still do that in time for our All-American Bowl telecast.
Well, let's see. All of us get a vote on the Heisman, right?
Yes.
Now, a former Heisman who's ever won the Heisman Trophy, they get a vote, and I voted for Lorenzo Wright. That was my first pick. My second pick was Chuck Long. My third pick was Bo Jackson. For no other reason, I just thought Lorenzo White had the best year. Bob, you had a vote. Have you voted yet?
I have not voted yet, but I've decided today, after the performance of Bo Jackson today, despite Auburn losing, I'm voting for Bo Jackson for the Heisman.
Number 2?
Number 2 will be Chuck Long, and number 3 will be Lorenzo White. And I'm kind of a slave to the old thing about Lorenzo's a sophomore and we'll have another year.
As a matter of fact, Bob, you and Paul will be seeing Lorenzo a little later on.
That's right.
You're going to see him at the All-American Bowl on New Year's Eve.
We're looking forward. Bob and I are going to be down there with Tim Foley doing the All-American Bowl. You'll see Lorenzo Wright right here on WTBS, and you'll see Georgia Tech.
And it's great to see you two fellas, by the way.
Nice to see you. You've been doing a lot of traveling.
That's for sure.
And we'll be back in just a moment. This is Turner Network Television.